So here we are, Jacksonville State, heading out to play Rich Rod and his crew. It's been, I guess it'll be 11 days, by kickoff, it'll be 11 days from our last game. So it's, it's kind of a bye week, kind of not. You have a little bit more time to get ready. The nice thing about that is we were able to jump ahead a little bit last week and, shorten up some practices, get our guys fresh at the same time as we're preparing for these guys. So they have a quick turnaround. I'm sure they had to rush to get ready. We'll have that rush next week when we get ready for our next opponent. But we're excited to get back out there and get after it.
Question.
Coach, so during the bye week, what have you guys worked on the most during the bye week in terms like offensively, defensively?
Offensively, it's just consistency. Especially in our passing game. We ran the ball well. This past game ran for 280 some odd yards. We just got to add a more consistent passing game to the flow. You know what I'm saying? That's really, really important. And then defensively, we just didn't tackle very well. Now, especially in the back end, we got to have to do a better job of not giving up explosives and, making sure we're better tackling teams. So we did some good, good on good stuff, just to get our guys playing at a fast pace and, and competing.
All right, Monte, in terms of the passing game, is the bye week help building chemistry with Santino's quarterback, getting timing right where he likes to place the ball?
Yeah, it was mainly just trusting in each other each person to do their own job first, and then come as a team to do it all together and just pick up the pace and just keep looking forward and helping the defense out.
Coach Sanchez, I assume Santino's going to get another start this week. From what he's progressed each and every week, fair to say. I guess how are you feeling about him heading into his another start here against that?
I feel good. Obviously we didn't get the results we wanted last week collectively as a team, but he did play better. You know what I'm saying? And one of the good things, the intangibles, him, tucking the ball and running. He had a nice touchdown run, picked up a couple first downs. Again, you'd like to see him in a little bit more of a rhythm early in the game. There were some balls, some of those jab screens and stuff like that where we kind of dirtballed those things. You just got to be more consistent with the easy throws. And he looked good. He's looked good these last couple of days, so I'm excited to see him get out there and keep competing and getting after it.
In terms of the run game, I know you said that opens up a lot for you guys in terms of the offense. Just, again, a talented running back room, and then Lorenzo kind of break out last game. How are you balancing this running back room considering you got Monte, Mike, Seth, and then now Lorenzo kind of getting into the mix?
You talk about team all the time, and the biggest thing is not being selfish. That's one of the hardest things in sports. Everybody, these guys are all competitive. They want the ball as many times as they can get it, but, they root for each other. They're a good group of guys. We've got to make sure that we do a good job of continuing to make sure that we spread the carries out, give these guys more opportunities. Guys like Monte returning kicks, he's got to take advantage of those things. It's a challenge when you got three guys, and then obviously you got a guy like Lorenzo who's been helping out at receiver. But when you get three guys who are all threats, getting those guys the balls, it's really important. It's key to us getting the season turned around and going.
What's been the 11-day break been like for Santino today? Getting more adjusted with the stars, again more adjusted to the offense and things like that.
It's been good. Anytime you have 11 days, you don't want it to get as stale, but at the same time, you have more chance to watch film. You have a chance to slow things down, to really work on fundamentals, get some more individual work, and that's been really good for him. He's a rep guy. The more reps he gets, the better he gets at it.
Yeah. Coach, you mentioned Santino making improvement the more reps he gets. Does him improving allow you guys to use have different play calling, different set of plays or different
it just gets more of your menu going. You obviously you go into the season, you have this entire menu, right? And when you make a quarterback change, the menu can sometimes get smaller. So I think just the more reps he gets, the more live game playing he gets, the better he gets at it, the more plays are available to him.
What are some things that maybe you guys are trying to do on your end as coaches to try and get him more comfortable? What do you think Santino has done to try to get himself more adjusted?
It's just what we do for a living. It's nothing different than we do with any other quarterback. Again, he's a guy that again he gets here late. Wasn't here in the spring, so he had the summertime to get going. Now he's got a couple starts under his belt. Again, he's getting all these reps with the ones. He's getting more comfortable with the entire offense. So it's just doing what we do, just coaching them up.
Monte, obviously for you guys and the offense, there's been a lot of movement at the quarterback position. Parker's been starting. You got Deuce's played some snaps now. Santino looks like he's going to be the guy. Just what's it been like for you guys as offensive guys, just trying to deal with all this movement at the quarterback position?
It's been the same. We all just adjust to the play style of the quarterback, and we just run the offense behind him.
What do you feel like is the difference between Santino's style and maybe Parker and Deuce?
I say Santino's more like he would pull the ball down and run, and that's kind of what we needed for the first couple of games. But now we got that, and he's been doing his thing.
Coach Sanchez, just obviously, bye week, 4-game losing streak, not the place you guys want to be in. How are you keeping these guys, keep the engine going, considering, how the season's kind of played out?
Well, the biggest thing is it all starts with you as a head coach, and it filters down to your assistants. You got to come in with the same energy and the same moxie you do every single day. That's why it's kind of, you never want to be too high, you can't be low. We this program's not built on a bunch of frills and a bunch of like crazy speeches and just doing weird things. We literally focus on the process. We focus on just having grit, and that's what we need right now because we're in a tough situation. Nobody wanted to be 1-4 going into this situation right here. However, like I told them, there's a lot of teams. If you look at our schedule and you look at the remaining games, there's a lot of guys going through the exact same thing we are. There's a lot of teams. So when you look at it and going, all right, man, who's going to handle that situation better? There's no way out. You got to fight your way out of these things. Like I told the guys the other day, when you're looking down a tunnel and you see a little light, do you see it closing or do you see it opening? That's a choice. So. To me, I've had the same energy every single day. I think the guys would tell you that. We're not going to stop coaching them hard. We're not going to get all sensitive around here and and ask about feelings and things like that. We're going to dig in and we're going to fight.
Coach, you mentioned fighting your way out of this deficit. Season's not over.
Not even close.
Like you said,
we got 7 games to go, and it's like far from over. Ask these guys.
You have the chance to do something MSU's never done.
Yep.
3 consecutive bowl games. Are you using that as motivation and practice for the guys?
We are, and again, you hate to keep going back, but it's like we're right now at this point. We have a 1-game difference from last season. 1 game. We were 1 game better at this point last season. If you think about it, we were sitting there 3-2, we're 1-4, and we let one get away week 2. That's on us. We got to find a way to make that up. So again, it's not really. If you're focused on the outcome, you're probably going to struggle getting there, right? It's about the process. It's about what we do. It's about the way we practice. It's about, playing with our eyes, our feet, and our hands and doing the little things right. And if we do that and consistently do it well enough, we'll get ourselves back into the win column with a lot of games to go.
Just kind of bouncing off of Sam's question, he asked, just more about the energy, but can you speak on the importance of, what would it mean for not just you, but also the guys to build that momentum, to build that confidence?
Well, you're an ex-athlete. It's one of those deals where when you work as hard as you do, you want to feel good about it, right? And it's hard when you're sitting there and 4 games in a row and you haven't had the results you want, it can weigh on you, So that's our job as coaches to try to pull that weight off them. We can carry it. They don't need to carry it. They need to be energetic. They need to have fun. But yeah, you do. You got to get back in the win column. You want to start being rewarded for all that, all the hard stuff you've gone through, right? Jacksonville State was in the exact same boat last week, when they got their win, and that was a big deal for them, and I know Coach Rich Rod's going to get those guys going, and they'll be lathered up and ready to go. But we want to start feeling good about this, and it starts with a win, and we got to go fight our tails off on Wednesday to get back in that win column and to reward these guys.
So, Nick, from a player's perspective, just to piggyback off that, how are you guys staying, in the fight, and how vital is this next one for you guys, considering how the season's played out so far?
Well, within the week, or actually the past few weeks, there's been a lot of leadership coming up, even from the leaders from the bottom. So even if they don't even start, they're picking up the slack from the leaders that they can't get to everybody. So it's just piggybacking on everybody trying to help each other now.
What have you seen? I don't know how much film you guys have seen on Jax State yet, but Sone, what have you seen from Jax State that you guys are trying to limit to give you guys a good shot at getting a win on Wednesday?
On a defensively perspective, our main mentality is really just reset, because they're really hard on tempo. So it's like less time for defense to react, to anticipate anything. So the best thing we can do is just after a play, reset, try to get our minds right, and just play off the next one.
And Coach, in Jax State's last game against Kennesaw State, they had over 500 total yards, and it was a quarterback, actually Tyler Huff, who tallied 3 rushing touchdowns, over 170 yards, and then 190 passing. So he's pretty dominant, right?
Good player.
What's kind of bouncing off of that also? So how is defense going to kind of come together to really put a stop to
Yeah, we've seen some pretty athletic quarterbacks over the course of the season so far, with Liberty and, New Mexico. Those guys are both, capable runners. We're going to see another one this week. He does a really good job. They run a lot of power read, and again, like Sone said, I know last year they snapped the ball faster than any team in the country, so I'm sure they're on pace to do that exact same thing. So there's going to be challenges, but it all starts with him. We've got to limit his, big playability, And if we do that, And part of the way we do that too is by the way we run the football. We don't want it to ran out. We got to make sure that we, win the time of possession. We got to control the ball, get first downs. Again, limit the amount of time that they're on the field. And then when they are on the field, we just got to make sure we don't give up these big explosives with the quarterback run game.
Is the plan still for Andrew Mitchell to call plays for you guys this week?
Yeah, collaborative process, that we have in there offensively that we've had the last couple of years, and he'll be the guy that'll be making the calls.
What have you seen from him and just the other coaches recently now that they've had to step up and?
Nothing different. It's the exact same thing we've been doing the entire season.
Gotcha. For all three of you guys are about to have a big stretch of weekday games coming up. You guys have had a little bit of a bye week, but you guys have had, like I said, a bunch of weekday games coming. How do you guys maybe try to adjust to that to maybe approach these kind of stretches of just a bunch of weekday games coming up? Whoever wants to go first.
Well, I'll start and they can kind of carry in, but basically, when you have 11 days, the nice thing is you come in, you put the game to bed, you give them a full day off, and then we had 3 short practices. So it's really not hard getting ready. The hard thing will be the following week when you have a 6-day turnaround. Now Jacksonville State's on a 5-day turnaround. That's hard. We'll be on a 6-day turnaround next week. So when we get back, get back, hopefully have a successful night, and we'll just flush that game and immediately move on to the next one. Which normally we have some time to prepare for, and then after that. You don't play, the following week for 17 days. There'll be a stretch where we play one game in I think 20 some odd days, which is kind of odd. So I think the hardest thing for us is going to be not getting stale at some point. But right now, all the focus is on Jacksonville State.
Yeah.
Monte, Sonny, do you? I'll start with you, Monte. Do you guys like the midweek games, like from a football perspective? And then I know you guys got class still. Just your thoughts on the midweek.
We talked about that today.
Yeah. I think it's pretty fun. You get we're one of the only games on that time, so you get to showcase your talent. But it's also you're not in class. But once you get back, you gotta still be a student athlete and lock in. Even on days like you think you have off, you still gotta be that student first.
Sonny?
It's really just the uncommon thing of football, like being able to play on Saturdays, but it's really just cool to play on the weekdays, but struggling to have class and trying to maintain your time to part in for football, and then to even just work within the time frame of your class and just homework and everything. But
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I thought you were done. You're a sophomore, right? So can you just evaluate just how, how season's going for you so far? And just bouncing off that, obviously I've been a college athlete myself. It's like you're still kind of adjusting and adapting to, everything that goes on with just being a college athlete. But just for you, how is it going so far?
It's going very well. I can't really just explain how my performance is really just reactive off the coaches. Like, if I'm not doing my part, then that's all it is. But I don't know how really well I'm doing until the end of the season. It's just a end of the meeting type with the coaches. They tell me how it is, any type of fix I need to do, and that's how I can help the team.
Monte, kind of just bouncing off of that, it's your last season, correct? Right? You're not
one more.
What?
I believe I have one more.
Oh, you have one more. Oh, okay. Well, either way, can you just evaluate just for you and your perspective? What is this, week 5, week 6? I can't. Sorry, there's a lot going on. But can you just evaluate how your season is looking so far?
I really haven't been looking at my season. I've been looking at it game to game, just like what I can do better, how can I help the team, and how can I be a leader. Because I'm not really the one to speak up. I'm more of an action type of guy. So I try to lead on kickoff return to get us yards, to get us going on offense, and try to hype the team up that way.
Sonny, I want to go back to something interesting that you said. You said something about leaders from the bottom and things like that. So just who are those guys for this team, and just what's that like?
The first one I want to acknowledge is from the defense. The offensive scout team. There's the line. He's injured right now, but he was one of them. I forget his name, but I think it's Dylan. He's one of the role models for the scout team. They really give us a look day to day. He's one of them that gets on them for not giving us pushing hard or getting on them to pass block or just give us a real look. And he even gets on even the receivers, trying to just encourage them to push, and it really helps us. If the better looks we get, it's easier we'll get on the game day.
Coach Sanchez, do you have an update with Shiaz? Because I was expected to return around this time.
We've got a bunch of guys that have been out, so we're starting to get guys back, which will really help us down the stretch, But so he's suited up full this week. He's practiced. He'll travel with us. Not cleared yet to play. That could happen before the game, but we fully expect him to be back really soon, and that'll make a major impact on our offense.
A game time decision.
Yeah, it's up to the docs. You know what I'm saying? He's got to make sure that they're 100% good with him. But that'll. It's been really good to see him out in the practice field. I mean, he's one of our leaders. You know, I mean, he's a guy that brings a presence. He's a heck of a football player. He's a dominant player in this league too. So getting your left tackle back, especially when you're breaking in a new quarterback with some of the protection issues we have, will make a big difference.
Who else has been out that you're looking at? Or
Jaden Robinson, he's a defensive lineman. He's a dynamic pass rusher. Had a really good summer, and got hurt during fall camp, so he hasn't been out there yet. Donovan Fapel got his tonsils removed, so he's still out. We'll get him back. Jordan Smith. The kid's been through a lot. He lost his brother. I guess a Thursday before we played Sam Houston, so he was gone for a couple of days of funeral services and stuff. Just got back today, but he'll be back with us. And he's just an amazing kid. So it'll be great to have him back. So, we've had some important role guys that have been down. Yaro's healthy now. I mean, he's kind of been playing on a limp the last couple of weeks. So getting him back will be a big thing. So again, some of these impactful guys, these all conference caliber type guys, getting those guys back will make a big difference.
Coach, in the last game against New Mexico, penalty yard, you guys gave a lot of yards on penalties. That hurt you. How do you guys address fixing that in practice? What have the coaches been telling you?
Well, I mean, and you're right. We had some that were just, unacceptable. Like we had one on a big kick return that was a bad hold, and then there was a terrible call by one of the officials on one of our long runs. I mean, I've watched that thing 10 times in a row, so hopefully he does a better job this week. We definitely got to be more disciplined, and there was a lot of flags thrown on both teams last week, so we want to play a cleaner game. When you're playing against a team like Jacksonville State, you don't want to give them anything that. You don't want to give them any advantage. You know what I'm saying? But again, there's a couple frustrating calls out there too.
Does getting guys back help? Just adding to the depth, getting guys back. Does that help with what's been the trend lately in terms of the defense being on the field a lot more than the offense has? Yeah, well, I mean, anytime you get valuable players back, it's going to give you more opportunities for explosive plays. You're going to have a better group out there, and it creates a little bit more of a rotation. Instead like you've seen Lorenzo play a bunch of receiver the last couple of weeks just because we haven't had a lot of guys out there. So, getting, Fapel back in a couple of weeks will be big. Having Jordan Smith available, that'll be big, what I'm saying, and with the guys we already have. Getting a guy like Pete back, what it also does, too, is it also allows you to rotate some of those offensive linemen throughout the course of the game so they get, less on the pitch count, so to speak.
Tony, I want to talk to you about something about this guy. Last week, one of the founders of Holistic Hope reached out to me about a partnership that they have with them and with New Mexico State. And,
with who?
So an organization called Helinski's Hope, which is like a mental health organization or something like that. And we talked last week about a partnership between them and New Mexico State that they've had. And I was just wondering what you know about that and if you know anything about them.
Our mental health game will be next week at home against La Tech. We'll be wearing green ribbons on the back of the helmets, and so we'll recognize it.
Mental health has been a big thing, all over our country, what I'm saying, that people have been talking about, and it's, and anytime you have, anytime you're running an organization that's got, 116 players plus all your, your staff and auxiliary staff, those things are going to cross your plate, what I'm saying? So it's important to understand, it's important to address. I think the biggest thing when it comes to mental health is asking for help. And it's not just mental health, it's anything you're doing within life. I think the more creating an environment where people feel like that there is help out there and not being afraid to ask for that help, I think makes a big difference. So it's good to have partnerships, and again, that's what the athletic department.
For Monte and Sone, how have you guys tried to balance, being a student athlete and playing and, trying to prioritize mental health, things like that? And how do you feel like, having resources like, with organizations and things like that help you guys as student athletes?
It's mainly just knowing that you have the right people to go to when you're having that problem, for me. So.
Yeah, I would just say given the opportunities that this program has, with all the mental health and coaches, being able to open space, very safe care with everybody you can talk to. It's that's all I can say. Sorry.
That's all right.
Coach Sanchez, you guys are 12 for 12 in the red zone. Obviously, I think it'd be ideal to get in there more, but you guys have had a lot of success once you're in there. What is it about that offense your red zone offense that's kind of led you guys to success. I think 8 touchdowns out of the 12 of them before.
Yeah, no, I mean, like you said, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, we're good when we get in the red zone. Let's get there more, you know? I mean, you know, we've been really efficient, but we got to get down there. To me, the biggest thing when you look at our season right now, it's we've got to do a better job in that middle half of the game. That second and that third quarter is where we kind of got stuck in the mud. I mean, we've had some good plans coming on out and putting points on the board early or moving it. You know, defenses, you know, played well early in games, but there's that middle part of the game we've just got to be better at, you know. And again, you know, just sustaining drives, executing on third downs. You know, like this last game, you know, we got a great drive going, and you know, we drop a snap, and all of a sudden you're punting the ball, and you know, if you continue to sustain that drive, it you know, changes the whole dynamic of the game. So we got to be better there, and we got to continue to be efficient in the red zone, but we just got to get down there more.